Welcome to the world premiere of the new Porsche 911. This all-new generation, codenamed 992, we will present to you on Autogefühl on exterior, interior and what might be the technology highlights. We'll tell you all about it in Autogefühl with Thomas. Let's go! The all-new 911 is 4.5 centimeters wider in the front, so it has an even bigger stance on the road. And if you look at the very first edition and then look at the latest one, you see a massive difference in the size. It comes with new LED headlamps, and yes, of course, they've kept it round. There was one generation you've just seen also where they didn't put the round headlamps, and people hate them for that until today. This one here is not only the standard LED headlamp, it's the LED matrix headlamp, so an even upgraded system for the high beam, and you see this 4-dot structure for the daytime running light all around it. Also, they took some quotations of past 911 models, for example in a lower air vent. This looks, more angular than before, and also how they cut out the front hood. So they're going a little bit retro style, especially already in the front. Do you like it? Well, under everything you can see, they have been using more aluminum now for the new generation to keep the weight low. And what you can see is actually typical strong shoulders in the front and of course also in the rear. Then they have mixed tires, so here for the 911S there's 20-inch in the front, but 21-inch rims in the rear. So the rear tires are bigger than the front ones for even more racetrack performance, for example. But the front wheels, they will feature a sensor in the wheel arch for the so-called rain mode. And when the sensors actually detect a lot of rain, then the car will suggest a rain mode, which will then have to be accepted first. And if the car, the driver in the car accepts this, the throttle input will be drawn back, for example, and the ESP, the electronic stability system, will also work a little bit more actively. So they react on that actually to make it a little bit safer, because there's even more horsepower on the hood now. We'll soon tell you more about that. Of course, the rear hood, not the front one, with a Porsche 911. Well, other than that, design is pretty sleek. This one here, the new door handles, at the moment they stand out, but they will be electrically supported, even to improve the aerodynamics. And then again, the most lovely part of 911 is always this very strong shoulder, and everything looks like it has been wrapped really, really tightly, especially toward the rear part. So again, this side profile is probably the main reason why this vehicle is loved all over the world. So at the rear, what you can see is, well, I'm not sure if you see it at the first sight, but all 911 rear have the same width now. Before, the all-wheel drive models were a little bit wider in the rear and the usual models were a little bit slimmer. Now all have the typical wide rear. Design-wise, as we've seen with recent Porsche facelifts and also in the all-new models, we have this LED strip running all over the vehicle. That looks pretty impressive for sure. Then you have the additional third braking light in the vertical style on top of the vehicle. And well, the exhaust, just a quick check. Yes, even for a Porsche they use those fake exhaust tips. So the rear exhaust is on the inside, and actually 4 exhaust tips as I see it. Well, that looks like a second layer of fake exhaust tips. Well, that's a really strange thing here. So yeah, I mean, the upper area is really beautifully done, I think, and looks somehow modern, but still, again, with some quotation of past models. There will also be a foldable wing here for this one, not a fixed one. But then again, the thing with the fake exhaust tip, I'm not really sure if that is really a true Porsche tradition. And the lower part here, again, fitting to the vehicle paint. I think the lower part here is a lovely finish, which is corresponding to this silver color. We also have some more colors for you. Well, I promised to show you some different colors. This one, the bright yellow. And in this case, especially the lower contrast here with the black elements is very well played out then. This one, by the way, here also with the standard LED headlamps. So at first sight, they look pretty much similar. I think it's good that you don't have to go for the highest LED spec to make it, good looking or something. So pretty similar in the styling for sure. And again, you can see those special moldings here in the front hood, which I've added. I think that's better than the previous generation. At first sight, of course, they look pretty much similar. So they're taking this evolutionary step. But then again, as I told you, with some of the details here, also with the turning indicators in the lower part, very interesting. I think I like it, when they do some retro style with the cars. It's actually also contemporary at the moment to go a little bit retro again. Or what do you think? Wow, this is a delicious side profile, isn't it? Also with those retro style rims here. In the biggest trim, again, 20-inch front, 21 in the rear. The entry models, however, will come with smaller rims first. But I would love to take those retro rims together, maybe not with a yellow color here, but then with a bright blue, the Miami blue, for example. Here also, when the door handles are folded in, you can see they're almost completely flat. And then if you open them here like this, they come out. So interesting. It feels a little bit weird to open them, but it's better for aerodynamics. Again, I'll just leave you again with this beautiful side perspective. And the yellow perspective in the rear, this one here, the 911 Carrera S. Also with those bumpers here, by the way, retro style as well. I mean, there's surely serve a protective function if there are some minor bumps from the rear. Not sure if they are really fitting design-wise, but they are, of course, practical. This is more of a night blue than of a bright blue. And talking about night, there will be a night driving assistant here for this vehicle. We've already seen it with the other bigger Porsche models that might be useful for some areas where there's not, any public lighting, for example. And talking about safety and assistance systems, finally, they are introducing an autonomous emergency brake from the standard equipment. Very good choice now, and a little bit late, but better late than never. This car here, by the way, also equipped then again with the optional LED matrix light system. Do you see the difference? I can show you again the difference in detail from the normal LED and here the LED matrix, that you can see something of the difference. Pretty elegant here for sure. It doesn't look so well in the lighting they've picked here. A lot of different spots, so it looks a little bit strange, but I think in normal daylight this color would be looking pretty awesome. I really love the rim choices here today. I like the retro style, but this one here also with the spider style, for example, also one of my favorites. And behind this one here is the optional ceramic brake disc, and with the yellow brake calipers to basically signalize it. And then you can see this special structure, and it's also really huge. Again, I can recommend it for racetrack use, yes. For non-racetrack use, it's basically not used hard enough. And then it, for example, can start squeaking or something, and can also collect some stones. I had that a couple of times now with ceramic brakes, and then it also starts making weird noise, and you have to, remove everything, build everything out again. So for a normal car customer, I think it's a useless option. Basically, you just pay a tremendous amount of money. What is good that the rims keep cleaner. However, Porsche with the new Cayenne also introduced this new surface coating, which is basically applied to normal brake disc, and then they reduce the braking dust by 90%. I guess they'll also offer that for the 911. That would be maybe a cool function if you say, don't need to have the ceramic brakes, not going racing, but still want to have my rims a little bit cleaner all the time. And here we can also see how it looks like when the rear wing is folded up. That looks a little bit strange, right? And it's really massive meanwhile, so this will create a lot of downforce. Well, from this engine here, you can fold up this small cover, but be careful because of heat. You can put in the fluids right there. This one here, a 3-liter flat engine, 6-cylinder. 450 horsepower here now, so it's an increase of 40 horsepower if you compare it to the predecessor model. This one here for the 911S model, and this one either with rear-wheel drive or with all-wheel drive. 3.7 or 3.6 seconds in the acceleration to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. And changes a little bit then when you put in the Sport Chrono package. Of course, this one here is still the key factor of the vehicle. The engine is in the rear, the weight is at the rear of the vehicle, and this of course brings you more traction when accelerating. However, if you get loose with the car, it's really hard to catch it. It's, for example, easier with the midship engine concept if you think about the Boxster or the Cayman. So there's definitely pros and cons to this concept, has been from the beginning on. But this is what the 911 is surely characteristic for. And really interesting, again, how that looks like with this new design element, which was also taken on over from the early turbo models, from the very first 911 turbo, especially when it's flipped up. Isn't it peculiar, right? So let's take a look at the interior. The inside of the doors, again, wrapped tightly as the exterior. Then we have some wood use here, but we can also get some other inlets as the decor elements, if you want it a little bit sportier. Also well integrated with the door handle right here. Very interesting. Memory seats. And the window levers right there, the window buttons. Very slim door pockets, so you can hardly fit anything substantial in there. Then this one here equipped with brown animal skin all the way over the seats and the steering wheel. There will be different seat forms, also with different electric functions available. So far they offer nothing which is free of animal skin, so not all, especially not for the California customers, which wants more sustainable factors. But they say they are working on it and will bring something for the Taycan, for the electric vehicle. And you can get an Alcantara leather mix at least already. Here again with the matte woods, really interesting. It feels very well, just shown also sound-wise. And you still turn on the engine right here at the left side of the steering wheel, but not with the key itself. It's keyless basically, and then you use this one here to put it on. It's like it has been before. Well, the door sill looks pretty much like in the generation before. And also the first impression is somewhat similar for sure. You control the seats in the lower part. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1". And if I put the seat in the lowest position, which is taking a while now, well, there's still plenty of headroom. Wow. That's surprising. So even for tall people that won't be a problem, but of course you sit very low as it's supposed to be in a sports vehicle. The look to the front, you can still see those round shapes of the headlamps, but what you can now also see is this molding in the front hood that has been added so far. Interesting is that the biggest change here, for sure, with the digitalization. So if you take a look here in the front of the steering wheel, there's still the analog RPM meter. It's a very prominent position. And then left and right, you can see those digital gauges. So this one can be, for example, used for the GPS and so on. There's a digital speedometer in the middle part. The ACC is still at the separate lever right there. But everything looks a little bit more modern. The driving mode selector is right here with an interesting clicking sound. Then you'll be able to click the middle part for this boost function. The steering wheel can be adjusted electronically, like here at the lower part of the steering wheel, and you can adjust it in reach and height. Also, of course, with the pedals right there to shift the gears. We'll start with the 8-speed DCT, or this Porsche dual clutch transmission. Later on there will also be a manual gearbox available, so if you're more the purist kind of guy. And there's a new 10.9-inch screen in the middle one. We'll take a look at now from another perspective. So this is a new, bigger screen, 10.9-inch. Let's take a look at here. So all touch, like this. Seems quite responsive so far. We're in Los Angeles today. Greetings to all our US guys out there. So the software already know from the Panamera, for example, or the new Cayenne. The climate unit will be available soon when we start the system. So those show us not everything is working. App-wise, well, they will still offer Apple CarPlay. I have not heard yet that they, for example, also feature Android Auto. Then you'll have some hotkeys below there, and again, with a nice clicking and this metal knurling, this one will be to deactivate the traction control. And this gear lever, this one is pretty new. Again, with this interesting metal knurling on the top. This one is so small, and then you put it actually back to put in D or front to the R, but when it's not turned on the engine, it's basically, there it is. So that feels a little bit strange, actually. Okay, interesting. But I like it, how it's been done here with the temperature unit. That's nice with the metal knurling again, and the clicking sound also for the vents. So you still have a possibility to change the temperature manually and not only via the touchscreen. But like, this is a razor, something, I could shave with that in the morning, like, or shave my hand hair now here. Come on, guys, really, seriously? Well, and then let's take a look further here at the middle console. This is here, for example, the seat ventilation, seat heating. Again, matte wood is being used. Adaptive cup holders. That is also a nice integration now for a single beverage or something. Electric handbrake, and then there's this armrest. 1 USB, 2 USB, classic USB. There it is. No USB-C and an SD card. And let's close it again. See, can't be shaken. So the build quality, I mean, for 120,000 euros, which this car is costing, you can expect this build quality for sure. 128 if you go with the all-wheel drive, German prices. And if you go for the sports chrono package, the car will be a little bit faster. And for example, also features this analog clock. We also know from the models before. Here we go with the analog clock with a little cover. Well, in this brown animal skin, it's of course, you have to like that style for sure. Let's just test it on the top part. This is also soft. And then just this part here in the front, this is then hard pack. So, and let's get in the rear. And well, you can already see when I would be driving, I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Well, the car is not powered at the moment, so the seat doesn't flip forward. So I cannot get inside, but this, you see, is pure emergency seating. There's Isofix at the outside parts eats for the child seats. You can also flip those back parts here that you can put actually, oh, there we go. So now you can see there's a strong mold here. Then again, you can put something on here if you like. But sitting here is not really possible unless you put the co-driver seat all the way in the front. And here we go now. So on the outside part there, you can flip those down, that you can protect the seats and put the bags right here, so you have an additional storage area. So let's take a look on the front. By the way, here, see there's no new design lines here on the top of the hood. Very interesting. And, well, this is actually a reasonable space. You can really put a cabin trolley in there if you see, you can reach in there quite widely. It don't seem difference to me. Maybe it's even a little bit bigger than before, just purely visual. It's always a little bit more complicated to open because you need to have the separate release and release before with the key or from the inside of the car. But always something which makes this car, which is a pure sports car, a little bit more versatile. So here again about the door handle. So when you open the car, this part here is what comes electronically, and then the rest of the part you do manual again. And again, whoa, it somehow feels a little bit weird. I'm not sure about this. What don't you do for aerodynamics? Then this one here is the bright interior style, also with a different decor element. So this is not wood. This is more like an aluminum mesh. This one here, the 4S model, by the way, so the one with all-wheel drive. And there you can see also how the bright style on the seats will work out, and also this mesh on the dashboard. So the wood is more the cozy variant. This one here, a more modern one. This looks pretty cool and is also fitting to those knurled structures on the buttons. And again, I think the knurled structures on the buttons, on the tiny ones, it's really cool. But I can't get over the gear lever. Can you? This one is the classic black interior, and also this one is one alternative where we have the fabric on the inside of the seats. You still have some animal skin parts, but that's already a good solution that it stays cooler in summer and warmer in winter times. Same also in the top part. So at the moment, I think I would go for that one. It's also, again, some retro style element we've seen from past Porsche models. And let's just test if it's more comfortable or something. It's really interesting. So it's a little bit stickier than with the animal skin seats, but still the fabric is not as sticky as we would have with microfiber or something. So it's something in between, but actually quite cozy. I mean, if you want more comfort, you would surely go rather for a Cayenne or for a Panamera. That's why more and more Porsche customers also went away from the 911. It's surely not the most comfortable car. That's what hardly any sports car is. But you can adjust the seats in a lot of different ways for sure, and you have enough headroom, as I said earlier. And we know with this seat setup, it's actually quite okay. And you have a little bit more room than you would have in the Boxster or in the Cayman for sure. And again, with the steering wheel adjustment. So we have 3 interiors here today. Just follow them all through and then tell me which interior style you would actually go for. Here, by the way, if you maybe already see it with a carbon fiber style decal element, you can see it at the inside of the doors here and also here next to the steering wheel, for example. So here now this car is properly powered, so you can also see the temperature is changing. And let's see if it also works with voice activation. Temperature set to 69 degrees.
Temperature set to 69 degrees Fahrenheit.
Cool, so that worked well, that's another possibility. And let's see if it also works for the GPS. Take me to San Francisco.
One moment, please. Please select an entry.
So we have a couple of San Franciscos here, but you can see at least it worked, that it's easier now than here also in the Porsche 911 to enter some GPS stuff, that you don't have to type everything in. And since this vehicle is also properly powered, we can show you more of the instruments. Here on the left side will be basically a digital analog screen, let's say. So digital, cancel please. So left screen right there, then the analog in the middle. On the right one you will have, for example, temperature and stuff. And again, when the GPS route is running, the screens will also switch off, for example, when you face an intersection. So now I'm at the co-driver seat, and this would be, you know, I could only sit this way, not any way near possible. They could change the seat, and then if I flip that one, I mean, it doesn't work for the driver seat at all, but here for the co-driver seat, then I could get in the rear. Yeah. So, and nah, I think I'm not sure if the door would even close. So I think this time it's really not possible. But at least it's still possible to have a time code with Thomas in the rear seat. Well, what do you think about the all-new 911? I think what I find the best is that they took some of the new design languages back from the past, so some retro styles. I really like those, and I think that's a very interesting evolution for sure. As for the interior, new digitalization, it looks cleaner than before, and they have adapted some new elements there too. I think it is also a good approach for a design icon that they don't change something too radical. As for the engines, more horsepower output as usual, and you can expect even better acceleration, so also some fine-tuning there. But for sure you can also see that big time, the time of the naturally aspirated engines is over. Might be some, special edition models for that again. Today we've started here with the 911S, but of course we'll take you on another tour with some different models. We'll soon also show you a workshop with a ride-along, for example. So stay tuned on Autogefühl for further coverage of the all-new 911. And now let's discuss this new generation.